This is one thing that really is difficult. When you have a gap like this and you're trying to checker one line that starts here and goes to there and then jumps over to there and continues, to try to get to the end of that gap where they actually come back together as one line. It is, I don't know if there's a science to it. There might be some voodoo involved, I don't know. But it's difficult to make that line connect back to itself after you've crossed 2 inches of open space. But I'd rather be lucky than good, you know. I'm going to have to make a little change. This grain is bouncing me trying to go this direction, but I need to do this edge, so I'm just going to do the edge only this direction, then come flip it around and come back this direction, because I'm bouncing and it's widening, it's trying to widen. I'm having to fight it to keep it from widening those grooves. So I'm just going to go just down this edge line. The grain dictates a lot in checker. You have to work with what grain you got. And if you try to force it, it can make your life miserable. April the 15th, 2010 was my parents' anniversary. I was leaving my driveway and I noticed something over in a little shed, outbuilding. We used to keep our boat in there. It was a drive-through barn kind of. And I noticed something moving around about the size of a skunk and about the same color, and I picked up a pistol and went over there to check it out. I found a puppy, a little black fuzzy puppy. Didn't know what it was, but it belonged to somebody because it had a little collar on. I picked it up. It had made a little nest, I guess you'd call it, out of some rags. I picked him up and carried him over to the kitchen window where my wife was inside. I said, "Look what I found." Well, we knew he belonged to somebody because he had a collar on. So we went to the local stores and put little posters on the wall. If you lost a puppy, all that stuff. We went to the local veterinarian about a mile away and asked if they had anybody that had lost one. My wife went door to door for about a week and a half, asking everybody in the neighborhood if they'd lost a puppy. We didn't know what he was. We just knew he was somebody's puppy. And so, after about 10 days of that, I said, you know, I think we just need to name him Joe and keep him. So we did. Best dog I ever had. Absolutely bar none, best dog I ever had. I've had dogs all my life. Joe was a black and red and tan German Shepherd. I'd have probably give $1,000 just to have his papers and know where he came from. He was absolutely a phenomenal dog. He had a temperament that would win over anybody. He was absolutely afraid of nothing except thunder. He didn't bark. Didn't have any bad habits. He wasn't even afraid of thunder till about 3 years ago. We discovered that. Had to deal with that for a little bit, but we had a safe place we could put him in, and he could do all right. He didn't sniff people's crotches. He didn't pee on people's tires. He didn't bark. If he barked, you better get your 45 and go outside, because there was something not right. He never was ill with a single person in his whole life. He never bit anybody, never even growled at anybody. He didn't take kindly to other dogs coming in his yard, but he was polite to visitors. If they had a dog, he was polite enough about that. If a stray dog walked in the yard, he'd put him on run pretty quick. That was 12 years ago, and 1 month, and 1 week. Day before yesterday, we came outside, and he was always up and by the door, waiting to see. He was kind of a morning dog. He was a real sleepyhead at night, but he was really ready to go in the morning. And he wasn't there. We've been everywhere looking. We've put it on Facebook. He's about 12 and a half years old, and he kind of outlived his years for a German Shepherd. They don't live much past 11 on the average. I think he just went out here in the woods, laid down like God made animals to do. They just go off and die. I sure do miss him. I sure do miss him. He never made a big show of it, but he was the most watchful dog. When my father-in-law was alive, he would see Joe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning making a lap around his house, checking things out. Wherever I went, Joe was there. He'd always find a high spot or a vantage place. He could watch me. If I was in the garden, he knew better than to come in the garden. But he'd get just above it on a little rise, and he'd watch. Like a lookout. He was always watching. I guess every dog owner thinks their dog is the best in the world. That's okay. I don't have anything to prove. I'll get another one. There'll never be another Joe. But I'll always have a dog. When I get to heaven, I'm going to ask my Heavenly Father why He didn't make dogs and men have the same number of years. You just get one when you're a boy and keep it for life. Never have understood that. This rug on the floor here. That's where he always laid. I was in here checkering, he'd lay on that rug right there at my feet. He came mysteriously. And he left mysteriously. I probably should go do something else for a while. It's kind of hard to see underwater. I think it was Clint Eastwood that said, "A good man knows his limitations." I'll have to come back to this.